Good day to all. We are the Group 4 and we are here to present our research proposal entitled Ameliorating Pupils' Problem-Solving Flexibility Through Online Homebody Approach or OHA. Before we start, let me introduce the researcher of the research proposal or the presenter. First is Kamwa Catherine DC. Next is Gacha Janela Rose L. Third is Hizon Melanie N. Then Javier Reña Angeli A. And last, Latolsa Jewel May L. But before we discuss or present the research proposal, let's see the content of the presentation. Chapter 1, Context and Rationale, Research Questions, Hypotheses, Significance of the Study, Scope and Limitation, Definition of Terms, and next is Chapter 2, Conceptual Framework. Chapter 3, Types of Research, Respondents, Sampling Method, Proposed Intervention, Research Instruments, Data Collection Procedure, Data Analysis, and Appendices. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. Context and Rationale. During the pandemic, there are factors that hinders one to learn. Through the use of different learning kits and strategies, it can help bridge the learning gap even though they are in their own home with their family. So, since pandemic happened, students do their study at their homes. To accommodate the needs of the learning of the learners, teachers need to think different methods and strategies that will accommodate their needs and will help them learn even though they were at home. According to Mathematics Tutor 2021, mathematics is often considered to be one of the most challenging subjects in school. The most common problem in learning math is the lack of understanding of basic concepts. If students' basic concepts are not clear, they will not be able to solve complex problems. Student thinks that mathematics is a difficult subject, that they have this stereotype thinking about mathematics. But if they understand the basic concepts and will be explained to them that it is easy as long as you focus on it, then their mentality will be lifted. That knowing mathematics is part of our lives and will help us solve many problems. Also, the basic concept is like a founding knowledge in the mathematics. If the student did not know what is it, then they will have difficulty in learning complex problems. Knowing how to solve basic concept or basic tasks is the first step in founding understanding before going to the hard or complex problem. Kami suggested that games can be used as an approach for studying mathematics. Furthermore, success in teaching mathematics depends on the active involvement of students. And in connection to that, a game that promotes active involvement can help to create a positive environment. Ernest explained that in mathematics, games can provide reinforcement and practice skills, motivate, help in the acquisition and development of mathematical concepts, and through games, students can develop a strategy to solve problems. One game that can improve learning outcomes in mathematics is Snake and Ladders with a smart circuit. Thinking of an approach that we need to think about the likes and dislikes of a student. Then from there, we will create a new approach or strategy that connected to it. Like using games as a reinforcement in teaching mathematics can also be used as a method because it can motivate the student to learn more. The games can also cut the attention of the student and will help them be more observant in the game and will also let them learn new things by doing those games. On the other hand, the use of virtual avatars is also integrated in teaching mathematics and English. One of the most important impacts of using avatar is that they have features to engage and facilities interaction for effective communication between learners and the virtual classroom. The avatars helps a learner to comply with the task without thinking that they are difficult to do. It serves as a guide for the learners as not to get bored during the class and help them to be active on online class. The avatar was created to be a learner's homebody to get their attention every time they take classes. Avatar can be a lot of fun to converse with learners, make the task easily, and to think that they are good in solving problems. Like the learners and the avatar will have interaction that will act as if the learner are still learning through face to face because the avatar will be used as a guide in the learning process of the students. Human-like avatars can also support learners to acquire a positive impact in learning performance. This is because the students' motivation will be increased by acquiring knowledge on their own rather than just listening and taking down notes. With the student doing the task, their learning will be increased. The teachers were to present real-life problems to the children, and then with the guide of avatar, the students will solve the problem. Using Avatar will boost the motivation and courage of the student as they have companion in answering the given task. The students will learn by doing and experiencing it firsthand rather than just listening or reading lectures. And with a student doing the task, it will increase their learning. Also, the teachers need to present real life problems to the children, and then, with the guidance of the avatar, the student will solve the problem, and by the avatar providing the hints and assistance from the software. Online homebody approach or OHA can be classified as an instrument in continuous learning amidst the pandemic. Virtual learning is given as a possible output where if there is an unexpected occurrence outside the world, we are still capable of acquiring knowledge. Since pandemic happened in the world, especially in our country, students cannot go outside and learn face to face. New strategies and approach needed as a new problem arise in the situation we have right now. One of it is the online homebody approach or OHA, in which can be used as a teaching the student even though they were at home. With the use of an avatar, they will give guidance to the student and while the student performing the activities. This approach can be used as a new way of teaching in the modern world.
Research question. This study aims to ameliorate pupils' problem-solving flexibility. Number 1. How may the pupil's self-perceived level of ability to solve multi-step routine and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3-digit numbers, including money, and be described? Number 2. How may the factors that affect pupils' performance in problem solving be described in terms of student-related factors and teacher-related factors? Number 3. What are the attitudes of the pupils toward the use of online homebody approach or OHA in e-learning? Number 4. Is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the pupils using online homebody approach or OHA? And number 5. How may the performance level of the pupils in solving mathematical problems be described after exposing them to online homebody approach or OHA? This research question aims to find out if the pupils can achieve the desired level of ability in problem solving. Also, in the research question, want to know how the pupil apply their attitude in online learning in a right way. Last is was is what was the effect of online homebody approach on the performance of the pupils since they were exposed to the said intervention. Also, the questions that we have asked here in the statement of the problem can be shown and answered if online homebody approach or OHA can really help the pupils to improve their ability to solve problems on their own, and also to help them to enhance their ability in solving multi-step routine and non-routine problems involving 2 to 3 digit numbers including money. Hypothesis. Null hypothesis. There is no significant difference between the pre-test and post-test after integrating the online homebody approach. In hypothesis, the observed outcome is consistent with the position held by the null hypothesis. Then, our hypothesis is accepted. The said intervention has no negative effect. The pupil's performance has been increased in the pretest before implementing the online homebody approach or intervention, while the pupil's performance has also increased in the post-test after implementing the intervention or online homebody approach or OHA. So, this is our hypothesis.
Let us now proceed to the significance of the study. Each research or study is conducted not only for the benefits of the researchers but also for the benefit of the others. In this research, we taken into consideration some people to benefit in our study. This study will be undertaken to measure the effectiveness of the proposed intervention in helping the pupils who are currently experiencing difficulties in solving mathematical problems in San Ildefonso Elementary School. So there are various sectors that will benefit in this study. The first is the pupils. The direct recipient of the output of this research proposal are the grade 2 pupils of San Ildefonso Elementary School who are experiencing difficulties in solving mathematical problems. Considering that mathematics plays an important role in the holistic development of the children. The second are the teachers. This study will be very beneficial to the teachers because the proposed intervention will help them assist and aid the pupils who are currently experiencing difficulties in solving mathematical problems. Third is the parents. The research will benefit the parents because they will be assured that their children are learning. Lastly, the school. This study will also be very beneficial to the school to ease the pupils' learning gap in mathematics. Let us now proceed to the scope and limitation. When we are conducting research, we should make sure that we are following restrictions and we are only allowed to use limited number of participants or respondents. So here's the scope and limitation of our study. So this study will be conducted to know the effectuality of online homebody approach or OHA in the problem-solving flexibility of grade 2 pupils in San Ildefonso Elementary School. So we are planning to conduct our research on the second semester of school year 2021 to 2022. So we are only including one section of grade 2 pupils of San Ildefonso Elementary School.
Definition of terms. The following definitions were presented to aid the understanding of the study. Avatar. Avatar is an icon or figure representing a particular person in video games, internet, forums, and etc. Avatar is also basically giving a computerized human form to advanced artificial intelligence. This means artificial intelligence that is general purpose and can be used for more tasks and literally think on its own. Body. Buddy is someone who does not an activity with you so that you can support and encourage each other. A buddy is also a procedure in which two individuals are helping together as one, so that they are able to monitor and help each other. In other ways, both individuals have to do the job. The job could be to ensure that the work is finished safely, or the skill or learning is transferred effectively from one individual. E-learning is a mode of learning that takes place electronically, often via the internet. It requires students to use electronic devices such as computers, tablets, and cell phones, usually their own, although often students use institutional devices too. In e-learning, it is the way to provide quick delivery of lessons. As compared to traditional classroom teaching method, this mode has relatively quick delivery cycles. A prime benefit of learning online is that it makes sure that you are in synchronization with modern learners. This enables the learner to access update content whenever they want it. So, and flexibility is ability to be easily modified. It is the willingness to change or compromise. In flexibility, this means that one person are ready and able to change and respond so as to alter and adapt to different circumstances or conditions. Problem solving. Problem solving is the process of finding solutions to difficult or complex issues. In problem solving, it is also one skill that help you to determine why a problem is happening and how to solve it. It starts with identifying the certain problem and then analyze the problem correctly and surely able to solve the problem easily.
So we are now here in the chapter 2 of our research, which is the conceptual framework. A conceptual framework is used to illustrate the variables we will study and the relationship between them. A conceptual framework also illustrates what we expect to find through our research. It defines the relevant variables for our study and maps how they relate with each other. We should be reminded that we should construct a conceptual framework before we begin collecting the data. It is often represented in a visual format. In our conceptual framework, we use the IVDV conceptual framework. So it only includes the independent variable and the dependent variable. On the left side, we can see the independent variable, which is the proposed intervention or the online homebody approach. It is the independent variable because it can be manipulated, while on the right side, there is the dependent variable, which is the pupil's problem-solving flexibility. It is the dependent variable because it is the one being measured. We can see that the research paradigm illustrates the relationship between the independent and the dependent variable. In the illustration, the independent variable is the online homebody approach or the proposed intervention to be integrated because it is the ones being manipulated. It may or may not affect the dependent variable depending on its effectiveness, while the pupil's problem-solving flexibility serves as the dependent variable, which is the ones being ameliorated or making better. In other words, the betterment of the pupil's problem-solving flexibility depends on the effectivity of the proposed intervention or the online homebody approach.
Good morning, everyone. So we are now here in the chapter 3 of our research, the research methodology. First, type of research. In this study, the researcher will be using experimental research with mixed method. The researcher wants to know the effectiveness of using online home body approach or OHA in teaching how to solve multi-steps, routine and non-routine problem solving involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers including money to enhance pupils' problem-solving flexibility by experimental research. Acquiring the skills of problem-solving flexibility will let the pupils able to generate multiple solutions to the same problem. It will help the students in solving word problems. In this research, researcher will be using experimental research with mixed method. Experimental research was commonly conducted with a scientific approach. It is basically uses quantitative research method, but we decide to use mixed method, the combination of quantitative and qualitative research. Quantitative research allow us to test the hypothesis by systematically gathering or collecting and analyzing data. It deals with the numbers and statistics, while qualitative research allow us to explore ideas, and it is basically deal with words and meaning. The researchers want to know the effectiveness of the proposed intervention, the online home body approach or OHA, in teaching to enhance the skills of the students in solving multi-step routine and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers, including money, to enhance pupil problem-solving flexibility using experimental research. Next, respondents. The respondents of the study are the grade 2 pupils of San Ildefonso Elementary School who are struggling in solving multi-step, routine, and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers, including money, based on the gathered information of the researchers. Based on our initial inquiry, one section of the grade 2 pupils of San Ildefonso Elementary School was having difficulties in solving multi-steps, routine, and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers, including money. This data was from Miss Irene Ponce, a grade 2 math teacher of San Ildefonso Elementary School. So now, let's proceed to sampling method. In this study, the researchers will use the purposive sampling method. Purposive sampling is a non-probability sampling that uses qualitative and quantitative research techniques. In this sampling method, the researcher will rely on their own judgment when choosing the respondent on who will participate in their study. The useful result can be obtained and accurate. This type of sampling is not free from bias. Informants may be chosen out of convenience or from recommendation of knowledgeable people. The research or the researchers will use purposive sampling method. It is a non-probability sampling. These sampling techniques allow the researcher to rely on their judgment in choosing the members of population to participate in the study. This method will be proved to be effective if the number of the students that can serve as primary data source is limited.
Now, let's proceed to the proposed intervention. I'm going to discuss what our intervention and how will it be integrated. Our intervention is online homebody approach or OHA. This helped the grade 2 student to develop their list master skill, which is solve multi-step routine and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers, including money using appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools. So we intended to use online homebody approach in enhancing pupils' problem-solving flexibility. What is online homebody approach or OHA? Online homebody approach or OHA is an approach that the pupil will use in their online learning, wherein pupil will create his or her own avatar that will serve as his or her best buddy. So this is an educational game-based application wherein it uses competitive exercises in order to motivate students to learn better. So there are 5 stations that the learner must accomplish, and the avatar is the digital character that will appear as the learner's friend and will be their guide and instruct them to complete each task. The learner need to complete each task to proceed to the next task. So how will it be integrated or how online body approach work? Before the series of the activity or before the activity start, the pupil will create his or her own avatar, which will serve as his or her best buddy during the online learning. It will appear as their learner friend. The avatar will guide and instruct them to complete each task. The avatar is also empowered to give some clues, but it is only limited. So there will be easy, average, and difficult rounds in every session. In each round, there are 5 stations. The learner needs to complete each task and proceed to the next task. Since we are in the midst of pandemic and the pupil cannot interact face to face with their classmates and with their friends, they can feel unmotivated in doing activities. So, by the help of avatar and homebody, they will not be feel alone or they will not feel alone. It is important that the learner will not feel alone as they work toward becoming a great problem solver. Next is research instrument. So, research instrument is referred to any tools that may use to collect or obtain data, measure data, and analyze data that is relevant to the subject of the research. The selection of suitable instrument or tools is one of vital importance for successful research. Different tools are suitable for collecting various kind of information for various purposes. So in a research instrument, the given research instrument will be used to collect, measure, and analyze data related to the research interest. So the research questions are: first, how may the pupil self-perceive ability to solve multi-step routine and non-routine problem involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit number including money may be described. So the research instrument that we will use is survey form. The second one is how may the factor that affect pupils' performance in problem solving be described in terms of student-related factors and teacher-related factors. So, to collect and measure and analyze data about the factor that affect pupils' performance in problem solving, we will use questionnaires. So there are questionnaires student related, that is student related factor, and the second one is the teacher related factor. Third question is what are the attitudes of pupil toward the use of online home body approach or OHA in e-learning. So to collect, measure, and analyze attitude of pupils toward the use of online home body approach, we will use a research instrument that is a survey form. For the question 4 and 5, is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the pupils using online home body approach? 5. How may the performance level of the pupils in solving mathematical problems be described after exposing them to online home body approach? So in the research question 4 and 5, we will use instrument pre-test and post-test. Next is data collection procedure. So in data collection procedure, we have a work plan. Table number 1, matrix of activities, step-by-step procedure of the conduct of the study. So we have objective, research activity, target date and time frame, and the person involved and expected outcome. In the first objective is to orient the pupil participant on the purpose and conduct of the study. So the research activity we will conduct is conducting orientation to pupil participant, and the target time is the first week of September 2021, and the time frame is 1 hour. The person involved in this research activity are the researchers and pupil participant, and we expect, or the expected outcome is well-informed participant on how the study will be conducted and its purpose. Next objective is to know the pre-test score of the pupil participant and their difficulties in solving mathematical problem. The research activity is administering a pre-test of solving mathematical problem and questionnaire concerning about factor that affecting pupil participant, and the target time is the second week of September 2021. The time frame is 2 hours. Again, the person involved in this research activity are the researcher and the pupil participant, and the expected outcome is administered pre-test and questionnaire.
Next is the data analysis. The statistical analysis gives meaning to the meaningless numbers, thereby breathing life into a lifeless data. The data and the use of the statistics provide a tool to decide. It gives a foundation on which to base our decision, either big or small. It is extremely important for the researchers to know what statistics they want to use before they collect their data. Otherwise, data collected will be unusable. The given statistical tools will be used in the data analysis of our research. So there are 5 statistical tools since there are 5 research questions. In analyzing the first research question, which is how may the pupil's self-perceived ability to solve multi-step routine and non-routine problems involving addition and subtraction of 2 to 3 digit numbers including money be described? we will be using the statistical tool rating scale with verbal description. On the second research question, which is how may the factors that affect pupils' performance in problem solving be described in terms of student-related factors and teacher-related factors. So we will be using a standardized test to analyze this research question. We will also be using the rating scale with verbal description in the research question number 3, which is what are the attitudes of pupils towards the use of online homebody approach in e-learning? In the research question number 4, which is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the pupils using online homebody approach? So to analyze the data that we collected in this research question, we will be using the statistical tool t-test. Lastly, on the fifth research question, which is how may the performance level of the pupils in solving mathematical problems be described after exposing them to online homebody approach. So in this research question, we will also be using the rating scale with verbal description. So these statistical tools will help the researchers to analyze the collected data from the surveys and questionnaires.
So the next is appendices. So here are the instruments that we'll be going to use in gathering the data needed for the research. First is survey questionnaire. In answering the pupil's self-perceived ability in problem solving before exposing to the online homebody approach. So the student will answer a survey form that will be used as a data before doing or being exposed to the approach. So here is an example. They will choose in the scale from this rubric to grade according to their preference in the questions. So here is the questions. Next, on describing the factors affecting mathematical performance of various pupils, we will use questionnaire. The first, in knowing the student-related factors, the student will use from the 5 to 1 scale that will describe their answer. So here are the questions. For teacher-related factors, we will also use 5 to 1 scale, and the student will choose according to it. Next, in pupil attitude toward using online homebody approach in e-learning, we will use survey questionnaire to know the attitude of the student while using or after using the approach or online homebody approach. So here are the questions. And last, on finding the significant difference between the pre-test and the post-test of the pupils in describing their performance level in solving mathematical problems after exposing them to online homebody approach. So here are the examples of pre-test and post-test. Also, the information or the test will be transformed to a mobile application as they will be going to be guided as from the avatar. So here are the references used in the research proposal. And again, we are the group 4, and here is the end of our research proposal presentation. Thank you.